Hey everyone, I'm Sam, an English teacher that helps English learners by immersing them in the world of politics, psychology, society, and culture. But today we will be looking at a religious concept called karma. Even if you aren't religious, especially a Buddhist or a Hindu, where I think karma is most prominent, then you probably will have heard the term karma if your English is quite high level, or you understand the translation of karma in your native language. People understand karma today in the West as what goes around comes around, and people get what they deserve, meaning that if you have done something bad, then something bad will happen to you. You can see this in funny videos that are often titled instant karma, where someone has done something bad or immoral or unethical, and then something bad has instantly happened back to them. However, there are actual deeper religious roots to karma, and you can find this mostly in Buddhism and Hinduism. I think there are probably other religions that believe in karma or some deviation of karma, but today I will kind of be focusing more on the Buddhist aspect of karma because that's what I'm most familiar with. I am no expert here, so if I make a mistake, I am very sorry. And if you do know a little bit more than me and you want to correct me in the comments, then feel free. I don't mind. While most people in the West understand karma as something bad happening to you or good happening to you after you have done something good or bad, in the religious aspect or understanding of karma, it doesn't just affect you in your lifetime. Karma can span across different lifetimes. So if I am a great moral and ethical person with good karma in this lifetime, I may be rewarded in the next lifetime. That's because Hindus and Buddhists believe in reincarnation, meaning that after you die, you are reincarnated, you are born again into a different life form. That doesn't need to be just a human life form. You could come back as a bug, a dog, a bird, a sheep, something like that, an animal. I don't know about other life forms like plants. How do you get good karma and how do you get bad karma? Well, karma is determined by your intentions, your actions, and your thoughts. So if you have positive, kind, empathetic, ethical thoughts, intentions, and actions, then you will be rewarded with positive or good karma, which can affect you in your lifetime or future lifetimes. And the complete opposite for bad karma. If you had bad intentions, actions, and even thoughts, then you will be punished. So it's actually quite funny because you can't just act upon something and do something nice. You may have some bad intentions, you may have bad thoughts, but you might have kind actions, and that could actually result in negative karma potentially. So sometimes online you might see a video of someone giving money to a homeless person, and you have to ask about that person's thoughts and intentions. Are they giving money to a homeless person because they want to help them truly, or is it because they want to blow up on social media and appear like a good person? Today, I want to think about some questions. Is karma real? Does it exist? I'm not going to be able to provide you an answer to that, sorry, because I don't know. But maybe we can have a look at both sides of the argument and also think about if karma is a good system or not. If you were a god or the creator of the universe, would you choose karma as a system? If you are interested in this topic and you want to discuss it with other English learners, you can join my free English community. The link is in the description. If you click on that link, you'll be taken to the community where you can find out more information. First, let's have a look at some of the arguments of why karma does exist. And first of all, within the same lifetime, it kind of could be argued that karma does exist because if I do good things and I'm kind to other people, people are more likely to be kind to me, or good things are more likely to happen to me. So if I'm constantly being generous with my time, energy, and maybe my money, then people might be kind, generous with their time and money. And that could help me in the end. It kind of makes sense. And that's why it kind of does make sense to be moral and ethical. If you live in a village and no one steals from each other and everyone is generous and kind and sharing and positive, then everyone benefits from that. If you live in a village and no one trusts each other and everyone is horrible to each other and everyone steals from each other, then everyone loses from that situation. If I stand in a city center and I just call people horrible names and I'm rude to people all day, I'm probably going to have something happen to me which is not positive. Someone could probably punch me in the face. Is that a result of my bad karma? Maybe. The idea of karma has been around for a very long time and has some deep religious roots. So even if we have no proof or evidence that karma exists, or there are life forms, or that we reincarnate, but if some of these ideas have stood the test of time, then sometimes there could be some truth in there. One of the controversial reasons that karma might exist is that it explains the horrors in the world. So everyone can think about horrible things happening in the world to people that it doesn't sound like they deserve it. For example, babies born with cancer, or how women are being treated in Afghanistan, for example. We can all think of horrible things happening in the world. Babies born with life threatening illnesses, famine, floods, climate change catastrophes, hurricanes, war. There are plenty of horrible things happening in this world, and it feels like people who aren't responsible for these things or are civilians often pay a heavy price. And they are not responsible for these things happening. But why does it happen to these people? Well, people who believe in karma might say because they have bad karma, because they have done something immoral, unethical in the last life or even in this life. So when an innocent person gets struck by lightning or some equivalent that has some horrible effects, then it might be a result of their bad karma. Just to clarify, I do not believe this, but it could explain why bad things happen in the world. I remember when Stephen Fry got asked if he was religious or something around his belief in God, he said, why would he want to believe in a God that causes so much pain and suffering in this world? And even if God does exist and he had proof, because there is so much pain and suffering in this world, that would make Stephen Fry not want to follow God. It's so difficult for people to justify the amounts of pain and suffering in this world if they believe in a creator and someone who controls and influences things. When you believe in an idea like karma, it gives more responsibility to the individual. However, I do believe it kind of ends up just being victim blaming. Things that could be solved through political change or political problems get depoliticized pretty heavily, and it's quite easy just to say people deserve it because they have bad karma. Some of the reasons or arguments against karma is that we don't have any evidence or proof that karma exists. We have no proof that people, after you die, anything happens to you. We actually don't know. That's one of the big questions of humanity, and unfortunately, that everyone knows is dead. And they have not given us any signs that most people believe in to show us that there is life after death. That's one point why karma doesn't exist. But I also have no proof that it doesn't exist. I also don't have any proof that reincarnation definitely doesn't happen. So I guess they're equal there. If you take away the aspect of karma going into a next lifetime, which obviously you can't do if you're believing in it through religious grounds, but the modern day understanding of karma, a non religious, and the way that we view it in the West, it'd be difficult to argue when you think about very evil people like Adolf Hitler, who caused so much pain and suffering in this world, but didn't really seem to get a fair or just punishment. However, we don't know if Adolf Hitler reincarnated and what his life was like after he reincarnated. He could have an eternity of suffering due to the suffering that he caused in this world. We just don't know. On the flip side, some people are kind and generous their entire life, and life just keeps handing them bad cards. It seems a little bit unfair. However, again, with the last example, we don't know what happens in the next life. They could have been rewarded. As I previously said, I don't really particularly like the idea of karma because it does end up victim blaming, and it's very easy and kind of a little bit lazy just to say people are suffering because of their bad karma. Obviously, if karma does exist and if you really truly believe in it, it's not lazy, it's just your kind of way of thinking. And who am I to tell people how to think? But I think there are just many problems with doing that. It just seems quite hard to justify when there are some people who are experiencing such suffering who seem so innocent in the matter, or when babies are born with cancer or something. Obviously, if you do believe in karma, then you probably think they did something bad in their lifetime. But for me, we have no evidence of that. So it's a little bit difficult to cling on to such a radical belief. There seems to be a pattern here when it comes to understanding and thinking about religion. There's usually a punishment or reward aspect to the religion where if you are a good person, you will be rewarded. If you are a bad person, you will be punished. And when religion was kind of formed and became very popular and became the way of people understanding and viewing the world, it kind of made sense that there needed to be some type of punishment and reward aspect because the rulers of the world didn't have the police or the army to back them to the extent that we have now. Back then, rulers kind of relied on armies that were probably not that well armed compared to civilian forces. So they needed a way to keep people in check. And it kind of makes sense for everyone if everyone behaves morally or ethically. Every thought, action, and intention is analyzed and judged. That applies a lot of pressure on people, and they are probably more likely to act in a moral, ethical way. If you were a designer, if you were a god and you got to design the world, would you implement karma into your world? I think it could be a pretty good system in kind of determining good behavior and bad behavior. But when you look at individual lives, it is quite hard to justify why some people might have such suffering in their life. And do they actually have free will to choose? Like, if you are born into a life and awful things just keep happening to you, how are you going to kind of rise above that and act morally and ethically? It kind of makes it more difficult to behave in a good way if bad things keep happening to you. So I don't really know, but it seems pretty good. In the comments, let me know, have you heard of karma? Is there kind of a modern day understanding in your country? Did you know that it had religious roots to Hinduism and Buddhism? Do you believe that there is life after death? And do you believe that there is some reincarnation aspect? If you were a god or a creator, would you implement karma into your existence or life? I don't know what I would do, but let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching or listening, and I'll see you next time.